What is going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. Today we're doing a side-by-side comparison of the Cinemaquette Recast versus the Cinemaquette Original. Now, straight off the bat, there's a few things you can really see that are different. One is the skin tone. If you look at the skin tone, this one is lighter. It does not have as much shading as this one when it comes to the main body. But first, let's check out the base. On this base, you can really see the inside of the water, the innards and everything. Where this one, you can't really see much at all, to be honest. You barely see anything. It's mostly just green with a little brown. So much more detail on the original. Look at this mask. This one has a lot more shading. The scratches are more prominent. So much more shading and detail on the mask. Let's look at the trees. So this one, on the recast, the brown is much more, it's less, not subtle as this one. Look at that versus that. That one is much more brown. So this one obviously is the original, so that's how it's supposed to look. They made this one where it almost catches your eye too much because it's so brown. And it also is lacking more moss green like this. See all that green? This one has very little green. The trees are almost all the same except for on the original. It has this little flower right here where the Cinemaquette Recast does not. So if you're looking to buy Cinemaquette, the original has that little flower. And obviously you can see the base is definitely more detailed all around on this. Everything about it's more detailed, I can tell. The rock right here, the brown right here, it's just plain. This has a lot more detail than that. So like if this is a perfect 10 out of 10 base, this is probably a 6, is how I'd rate that. Now onto the Predator himself. Look at the knee right here, how dark it is right there. And then that one, it's very subtle. So the weathering is not as good. The weathering on right here versus right there, like it has a little bit of weathering, but not enough to match that. Now this is made of plastic, where that one is polystone. And the blades, I believe, are also just plastic. When on this one, I think they're metal. But look at the skin tone there and then there. You can really see the substantial difference between the skin tone. Now, one of the biggest reasons, there's a lot of reasons you want to own the original, of course. Always go for the original. But one of the biggest reasons as well is the portrait. So on the recast, the inner jaw or the inner mouth is very pink, very little vein work and not a lot of shading. And then it has this arrow shape. And it's actually a little bit more glossy as well than the original, where this one, the inner mouth is a much darker pinkish red with more vein work. And then it has this shape of it's like a V shape. So quite substantially different. The texture work is a little bit deeper on this versus that one. It seems like when they cast it, it lost some of the texture work. So like the fine texture like up here, you can see it on the recast, but not as much on the original, as you can see right there. So this one has finer just detail all throughout. The leather on them is both different. So I'm talking about this part. So this one's brown, where that one's more of like, almost like a green puke color, where this one's brown, and brown looks better. So this one definitely has a lot more weathering, finer detail, sharper. Just quickly looking at it like that right there. You can see all that fine detail. Not nearly as much on this one. So, and when you're setting it up, the difference is if you saw both of my unboxings. So on the original, I had to actually tie on all these. On the recast, it came already tied. The cannon is more lowered on the original, where the recast is higher up. So look at the Canon size difference. One's pointing upwards, this one's pointing downwards. And I do prefer it pointing downwards, to be honest. And then obviously if you're looking at buying a Predator, just look at the face. Here's the thing, a lot of sellers on eBay will actually post pictures of the Cinemaquette, but they're selling it as a recast. But if you look at the COA, let's compare the two. I've not got... So look at the side-by-side of the two COAs. Now, like I've said, the Cinemaquette has an actual watermark that says Cinemaquette with their logo. This one's missing it, and the Recast always comes with no number. And the colors are obviously different. This one is lighter. This one's a little bit darker. The signatures it's darker on this. And this paper is a different quality. So, you know, if you are looking at ever buying a Cinemaquette Predator, make sure it has this watermark logo so you know you're buying an original and someone's not trying to sell you a recast for the same price. Now, here's the back view. I mean, obviously, you're not going to be looking at the back too much. You know, the big substantial differences is all right there. So you can see that has tons of this brown moss effect, where this one is more greenish with a little bit of brown here and there. The trees are very, very similar outside of that little flower. Other than that, the trees feel about the exact same. They both have this little Stan Winston studio and then another little logo right there. They both have that. Look at the back of the legs. So this one has that detailing right there. This one does not. So it's missing that finer detail. And let's see what else. Yeah, everything's just a little bit finer detail for sure on the Cinemaquette. Like I said, the Cinemaquette is the holy grail of statues. It's probably the best statue ever created, in my opinion. I really need to sink it in, but I'm starting to think it really, truly is. The Recast is a 6 out of 10 compared to this at a 10 out of 10. Now, the Recast is a good option for those who simply will never, ever, ever be able to afford this, and you want to have the representation. Although, to be honest, if you are going to buy it, spend, let's say $2,000, I'd just say go for the Prime 1 instead. Although, like I said, I prefer 1/3 for my Predators. But overall, this ECC is a holy grail of statues, without a doubt. There's quite a substantial difference between the two, as you can see. The finer detail, the paint job, the base, everything about it. The Recast is just, not nearly as good, is what I'll say. So 10 out of 10, 6 out of 10, quite a substantial difference between the two. Yeah, like even these necklaces are different shaded, don't look as good as this. The armor looks different. I'm kind of surprised that they can't get Recast better, because if they got the original and they had it side by side, why did they create the Recast to look like this and not like this? Like, these Recasters are stupid. Anyways, and for me personally, I'm never buying a Recast again. I'm done with that whole Recast game. I've learned my lesson. I'm not doing it again, and I'll eventually sell off my remaining Recasts and buy the originals, or just not have them. So eventually I will sell them off, and my collection will be purely 100% originals, 0 recasts. So as of now, I have my Ghost Rider and Bruce Lee and my Man of Steel, but that one's completely destroyed. So eventually I'll get to that. Nothing that I'm doing immediately, but I'm super happy. I have the original Cinemaquette. It's worth the price. It's the holy grail of statues. But as you can see, the clear differences between, Recast versus original. Now, the original is on a little Lazy Susan, so that's why it's higher. If you're thinking it's taller, it's just on a little Lazy Susan, so that's why. Anyways, folks, let me know your thoughts and comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.